Okay, so we're going to just review a little bit of Chapter 8, Section 1, and I want to make sure that you have this little handout that I've given you in the past. Here it is. Rules for Hebrew Syllables. You guys remember this lovely little handout? This is where we learned the old preacher sermons are a long rule. Open pretonic syllables require a long vowel. And the cuss rule, closed unaccented syllables require a short vowel. I had asked you to memorize these two rules, and we've stated these, I think, in the context of our class over and over again, probably sufficiently for you to be able to remember this, even without a concerted effort to remember. But hopefully you've actually spent some time trying to memorize these. Okay? And up here, we have syllables that are labeled that exemplify the rules that are below. Okay, so focusing on rules 2 and 3, right here, the open pretonic syllable, right, is what da is, and it's got a long vowel here. Number 3 is the cuss rule. That's closed and unaccented, so it's got a short vowel, following the rule. And I've told you that the 5th rule was the one that we were going to memorize a little bit later. Technically, we're not going to really memorize the whole rule. It's worded in such a way that it's actually got a few concepts embedded in it that I don't really want to spend time talking about, at least not in first-year grammar. But the memory tool is the Oops, Ras, Vocal Shava saying. Okay? And that, obviously, you know that Ross and I disagree with each other on the status of a vocal shava. He treats it as a vowel, I don't. So this is a nice way to remember it. Oops, Ross, vocal shava, right? But it stands for an originally open propertonic syllable, reduces the original short syllable to a vocal shava. I'm going to simplify this to this little deal right here. Okay, so just jot this down. An open propertonic syllable tries to reduce its vowel to a vocal shava. Okay, so that's the formula right there. Okay, that's it. An open propertonic syllable tries to reduce its vowel to a vocal shava. This is true of nouns and adjectives. We're going to see this quite frequently in the Hebrew language. Frequently, we have situations where words only have 2 syllables, like davar. And that's my pattern over here. Let me pull up my word here, and we'll work through this example real quickly. Okay. Let's start with the word davar as a singular noun. What does davar mean? Davar means word, right? Davar means word. So it looks like that. Get rid of that. Kirik. Okay. Now, I'm not going to divide the syllables right now. I'm just going to ask you to think about the syllable structure. And you tell me how many syllables are in the word davar? 2. You know it's 2 because you can count how many what? Vowels. Right? It doesn't matter how many consonants the stinking word has. You know how many vowels it's got. You know how many syllables it's got, right? So, 2 vowels. By the way, what's the name of these vowels? Kametz. The second one is a kametz. Good. All right. Yes, they're both kametz. So, davar. Davar. Okay, the first syllable or the second syllable, which of these is the stressed syllable?
Second.
The second one. Why did you stress the second one?
Default.
Yeah, that's default stress. Excellent. And then the first syllable must be what? If the last syllable is tonic, the first one is pretonic. Excellent. And is the second syllable open or closed? It's closed. And the first one is open. Okay? Now we're going to keep that in mind here as we talk about this rule. Here's the deal with Hebrew, okay? If I have a syllable that is open or becomes open and propertonic at the same time, Hebrew will try to reduce that vowel. That's what the little symbol down heading to Sheol is, right? That's going to try to reduce that vowel to a vocal shavah. That is to say, I might have a full vowel and it's reducing, meaning it's becoming really not a vowel anymore, right? Or not a full one. And we want to go all the way down to vocal shavah with that. Now, that is going to happen only if the vowel is a changeable vowel, okay? If the vowel is changeable. Now, which vowels are changeable? That's easy. You already know this. It's changeable if it's a vowel that's not unchangeable. Oh. Lights are going off in your head. Dr. Marshall, that's a tautology. Yes, it is. Which ones are unchangeable? The unchangeable vowels are the historically long vowels. Which ones are the historically long vowels? Yeah. The ones that have what? What's attached to the vowel point in a historically long vowel? A mater, exactly. So remember, you had your chart of vowels, right? And we had basically 3 columns. We had the TS stands for tone short, TL tone long, HL historically long, right? And the historically long ones were the ones that had the mater, consonants that mark vowels, okay? These are unchangeably, I can't seem to write well, unchangeably long. That is to say, if they're unchangeably long, they can't reduce to vocal shavah. They can't even change to a short version of the vowel. If we need to turn them into what's called just a regular tone long vowel. They just stay put. They stay what they are. They don't change. They're like the bad guy that the young lady marries, thinking she's going to change him, and he never does. Okay, he is unchangeably long. That means that any vowel in these first 2 columns, the tone short and the tone long ones, they are changeable vowels. And if they find themselves in an open propertonic syllable, Hebrew will like to do what with them? Like to reduce them to what? A vocal shavah. Okay? So let's take a look at Devar again. So I have Devar, word, one word, and I want to talk about multiple words. Okay? What am I going to do? I'm going to add a plural ending to this, right? What's my plural ending? It depends on what gender the noun is. Is Devar masculine or feminine? It's masculine, okay? So my 2 choices for adding a plural ending is either adding im or adding ot. By the way, if I transliterate im into English, it's going to look like this, right? Going to add im. If I transliterate ot, it's going to look like that, okay? So when you think about what you add to your endings, which endings you add to your noun, do those endings begin with consonants or vowels? What you're adding to the noun stem? Yeah, these endings are beginning with vowels, right? The vowel kirik or kirik yod, right? Or the vowel holam vav. Those endings begin with vowels. And so you're going to hear me use this expression, so I'm going to go ahead and write it down here. A vocalic ending is an ending that begins with a vowel. Okay? Vocalic ending. It's an ending that begins with a vowel. This matters because when we start learning verbs and we start indicating who the subject of the verb is, it's like Spanish. You change the ending. And sometimes in Hebrew, we're going to add a vocalic ending, an ending that starts with a vowel. Sometimes we're going to add a consonantal ending, an ending that begins with a consonant. Okay? And depending on what kind of ending you use, it's going to affect the syllable structure. And let me show you why. Okay? We're going to use im to make devar plural. Where do I add the kirik yod of im? It's going to go right under this resh right here, you see? Now, right now, is resh part of an existing syllable before I add the im? Yes. Resh is closing the syllable var in devar, right? So together, this is a closing consonant here, this resh is. But when I add the kirik yod to that, and then the mem, all right, what do you learn about Hebrew vowels? Every Hebrew vowel in a Hebrew syllable has to have what? A lead consonant, right? You can't have a Hebrew vowel that doesn't have a consonant that's leading it and starting the syllable with it. Well, resh was closing the syllable with var, but now it sees this kirik yod and says, hey, you're a vowel and I'm a consonant. We make a pair. So it's going to slide over and take this vowel by the hand and say, let me lead you through life's path. Okay? And it's going to start a new syllable. Now, up to this point, the bet with the kametz has been closing, but now the resh is gone. Started a new life with someone else, the turkey. And so, it's going to pull the stress all the way back with it. Vocalic endings are like the really large kid in 6th grade that becomes the anchor of the tug of war, right? You don't stick a little skinny kid at the back of the tug of war rope and say, hey, make sure that we don't get pulled to the front. The big kid pulls everybody else back to the end, right? And that's what these vocalic endings are. They're little fat kids that are pulling the stress to the end of the word. Okay? So where's my tone going to go? It's going to go on this new syllable. The tonic syllable will now be reem. Okay? Now look at what I've got. I've got va is now no longer closed. It is what? It is open. It is no longer tonic anymore because the tone went south. Okay? The tone went to the left. So it's now pre-tonic. The da is still open, isn't it? But it's now what? Propertonic. Okay? And so now we have to think about our syllable rules. And we've got these 3 rules. Old preacher sermons are long, cuss, and then the upsras vocal shava. Think about the all preacher sermons are long. Open pretonic syllables require a long vowel. The va is now open and pretonic here. It's got to have a long vowel. Is the kametz here a long vowel? Yes, it is long, right? Yes. So do any changes have to happen to that one? Nope. Look at da. That has now become open and propertonic. What does Hebrew like to do with those? Rule number 5. Open propertonic syllables try to reduce their vowels to what? A vocal shava. Is the kametz that you see here, is that a changeable vowel that can reduce? Yes. The only unchangeable vowels are the historically long ones, right? So what am I going to do here? I'm going to change this kametz to what? Exactly. It becomes a vocal shava. Okay? So this is how you say words in Hebrew. Devarim. Devarim. So when you learn the word as a vocab item, that dalet has a long A in it. Davar. Davar. Davar, right? When you make it plural, it's not going to be davarim. Okay? We're going to reduce that first syllable because we're adding a syllable at the end and it's taking stress. Okay? So that leaves da in an open propertonic syllable and then it has to reduce. So once it's done reducing, it's no longer considered a true syllable anymore, right? Devarim. Devarim. So that's the situation here. Going back to Ross's chapter, okay? Ross in 8.1 mentions vowel reduction in nouns. This is a little bit misleading. And so right next to the numbers 1 and 2 for the different paragraphs that you have, I want to make sure, if you don't already have this down, that you write it down. That you write noun reduction pattern next to number 1 and verb reduction pattern next to number 2. Okay? You guys have that in your books? Okay. What we're dealing with here for the first one is my rule number 5 here on that handout. The Oops Ross vocal schwa. Okay? And so I'm basically rewording what Ross says when he talks about propertonic reduction. This is basically a rewording of it. He mentions things like if you have a kametz or a sere, those reduced to schwa in an open propertonic syllable. Don't worry about what the vowel is, except for whether it's changeable or not, okay? So you do have to remember that. If it's a changeable vowel, then it becomes vocal schwa in an open and propertonic syllable, all right? And this is true of nouns. So let's just walk through a couple of other examples. We did devar just a second ago. Let's take the word for prophet, okay? The word for prophet is navi. That's the masculine singular form, all right? Now, let's just think about the syllables for a minute. Where's the tone on navi? Is it on na or vi? V. The na must be pretonic, right? Is the na open or closed? It's open. Old Preacher Sermons Are Long rule tells me that open pretonic syllables require a long vowel. Is my kametz under navi long? Yes. So good. The way this word looks, the first time you meet it, it's already following the syllable rules, right? Now, when I want to talk about prophets, plural, I'm going to have to add an ending, aren't I? In English, I add an S. In Hebrew, if this is masculine, I add what? I add eem. So I'm going to put the kirik of the eem under the aleph, the yod beside it. That makes one vowel, and then my mem. This aleph is now going to do what? It's going to slide over and take this vowel in hand and become the lead consonant for it. So the aleph is going to create its own syllable. And where's my stress going to be? It's going to be at the end. Eem is going to be my tonic syllable, right? It's the kid at the end of the rope in tug of war. This V, without the aleph now, because the aleph has gone away, this V syllable is no longer tonic, it is pretonic. Is it open or closed here? It's open. Kirik yod is a vowel, right? So the bet and one vowel is an open syllable. By the way, what does the Old Preacher Sermons Are Long rule require? Open pretonic syllables require a long vowel. Is kirik yod long? Yes, it is. Yea, verily, yea, it's historically long, isn't it? It's unchangeably long. So that's good. It's already following my rule, even with the change of stress to the new syllable. But now I've got na in an open syllable, but it's not pretonic anymore. It is propertonic, because my pretonic syllable is V. What's going to happen to the kametz under the nun here? Yes. My rule here is that syllables that are open and propertonic like to go to a vocal schwa if the vowel is a changeable one. And kametz is certainly a changeable vowel because it's not historically long. Okay? So there you go. The way you say prophets is nevi'im. Nevi'im. How many of you know the division of the Hebrew Bible into the 3 traditional parts? T and K are the abbreviations, and you add the A's as helping vowels, you get Tanakh, right? What does the T stand for? Torah. What does the N stand for? Yeah, it stands for this word right here, Nevi'im, prophets. Law, prophets, writings, okay? So Nevi'im is prophets. That's the N of Tanakh, okay? And it's in the plural there. So it's got that reduced vocal shavah, Nevi'im, Nevi'im. All right, and then the last example is the word levav. Levav means heart, okay? Heart. Think about your syllable structure here. How many vowels do I have in levav?
2.
2 vowels. Good, so how many syllables do I have?
2.
I have 2. The final syllable, is that one tonic or pretonic? Tonic, good. Lay is pretonic. Vav, is that open or closed? Closed, good. Lay is open. Excellent. Now, is the syllable lay following my old preacher sermons or long rule? Open pretonic syllables require a long vowel. Is Sari long? It is? So we're good? We're happy, right? Good. Now, levav, heart, is a body part. And in Hebrew, body parts, when you make them plural, well, body parts, just by nature, for the most part, pardon the pun there, are going to be feminine. Body parts are feminine, okay? I don't know why that is. They're just feminine. So we want to make heart plural. Heart is going to be made plural using which plural ending? Im or oath? It's going to be oath. So I'm going to add holem vav and tav. Okay. Now, the bet was closing this syllable vav, that final bet. Now it sees a holem vav and it says what? Yeah, see you later. I'm no longer going to stay in this closed syllable because I've got a vowel that I can go with and lead, right? So he's going to head that direction. And that's going to leave what was formerly a closed and tonic syllable different, right? So the final syllable is now closed and tonic, right? Vocalic endings pull the stress to the end and steal that consonant. The va is not closed and tonic, but what? Open and pretonic. Is my open pretonic syllable following my syllable rules? Old preacher sermons are long. Open pretonic syllables require a long vowel. Kametz is long. I'm happy there. Lay is still open, but it's now propretonic, right? Because my tone's here. Tone, pretone, propretone, right? What's going to happen to the sere? It reduces to a vocal shavah. So my spelling of hearts is levavot with a vocal shavah there. Levav, one heart, levavot, plural hearts. Okay? Does that make sense? Well, it may not make sense, right? But get it? Yes, sir.
A little unrelated, but it's hard to argue and sound smart when you don't know what you're talking about. Since it doesn't have an ah ending, yet it's feminine, does that make it irregular?
Since it doesn't have an ah ending. Oh, yes. So remember, we have certain nouns that look masculine on the end because they don't have an ending, but they are in fact feminine, right? I'll give you another example. The word for eretz. What's the word eretz mean? Earth, land, right? When I make it plural, guess what my ending's going to be? It looks masculine, doesn't it? It's going to be oath on the end. I'm going to add an oath ending here to make that plural. So eretz is feminine, even though it looks masculine there. Okay, so good question. All right.